The Uptown Arts Bar has opened its doors to a variety of different presenters, from Beth Bird's cabaret shows to potluck productions, belly dancers, and improv acts.
In fact, in 2013 and 14, the Pitch honored them for having the best open mic in the city. Poetry has always been one of the staples.
The Poetic Underground and Poetry Slams are a regular feature here and actually have helped us find some of the spoken word artists we've showcased on Arts Upload.
Like the one you're just about to see, Nick Gavecci.
His poem's called With Great Privilege. Justin Bond is the producer and videographer.
Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. And small minds discuss people. First Lady Roosevelt, 1948. And between Eleanor's sentiments and where Mrs. Parks benched, the strongest ideas have never, ever bent to the wills of the whispered nonsense that the songs of society have attempted embedding in mankind's gifts of progress to which we once aspired so fervently. See, we rose, then fell. And between this quote from Mrs. Roosevelt to those from how Rosa felt under the imposing belt of an ignorant culture that whipped her and her kinfolk again and again with blows which dealt an unconstitutional no. All hell will break loose if you sit here. We still live in these dark agents of dark ages. Our pages are peppered with darkening cages as dictated to us through the hardships of others. Yet somehow they're always doctored up in doctorates inscribed on these parchments by dangerously well-spoken racists, ageists, bigots, and sadists, etc. And though it's our fears that still administer ranges of blistering blows meant to squelch us, you should know that we only crush the fruits of our passions when new ideas jam our plain souls up, because we just don't listen. We don't listen when these new ideas convolute the old truths which we're used to, getting trapped in comprehensive entrapments. We become complacent and wrapped in our sheltered encampments. We let historical figureheads dictate our actions and tamper with these maximum capacities our capabilities can tap, and we claim that's how it's always been done. So play by the rules. You have to know where you're from in order to know where you're going? No. That's not entirely facts. First, you have to understand who you are before we can define where we're at. Even the brightest minds in existence once thought that this planet was flat until one radical mind got up here to challenge that acceptable platform that was comfortably palatable, and that's why we need to quit talking in circles and walk away together. Or, we could just stay here and plan for a future forever, never understanding what's best. We're just content to bicker over who's better, rehashing semantics, the same antics that have shredded us apart since the beginning of time. In order to thrive, we need to support one another and not pretend like we're playing life support as we watch while we die. So if great minds discuss ideas, average minds discuss events, and small minds discuss people, please forget I wrote you this poem. Leave here today, but maybe, just maybe, by sitting, watching, and listening, you may have begun to do something about this yourselves. So internalize and act wisely.